And it said, I thought bro was deployed. Bro's in prison, and then crying emoji. And I'm like, I don't get why you're hating about that, but okay, that's not a flex at you.
Welcome to More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend. I'm your host, Jay, and we are taking it nice and light and fluffy today with Anna's episode, and I think it's a well-needed break for all of us from the deep and the heavy episodes that have been through and that we have coming up. I have had a week for sure. And I haven't been present on social media as much. And there's a few reasons for that. But I think I'm currently going through a moment in life where I'm mourning certain things and realizing certain things. And sometimes when you get so much outside, I don't think influence is the word, but events that are happening around you, it just affects you in your relationships. And I was having a really hard time processing in the past week, and I took a break off social media because of it, or mostly a break. I wasn't posting. And, you know, there are times where I feel sorry for myself because my husband is incarcerated for life for a murder he didn't do. But then you see cases where people are in similar situations and they're executed in the state that they're in. But then you see situations where people are in similar situations and they're free. Or people did something worse and then they're getting out because of a different change in law in another state. And as much as you're happy for those people, generally, you're still feeling sorry for yourself that you're in this situation and that you're still trying to fight felony murder in Nebraska and being far away and trying to survive in the world. And then you feel guilty that you're feeling that way because there are people that are worse off than the way my husband is. There are prison conditions that are worse. You know, I wouldn't complain about the conditions that Nick is in necessarily. Sure, he's on a 21-3 and getting news last week that they're going to keep him in 21-3, so 21 hours solitary a day, because they are claiming that he is a high risk to escape. Make that make sense. He's never even attempted an escape, but you want to label him as a high risk escape, which to me is a really great and easy word to apply to someone to do whatever you want to them, which is what they're doing. And just so everyone's aware, if you weren't, escaping's kind of a big deal. And you've seen the escapes that have happened in the prisons over the last year. It's a lot of resources. It's a big deal. The people get caught. Like, it's not something that anyone should want to attempt at any point. But not only that, the seriousness of it. There are charges for attempted escape. They exist. That you get charged with attempted escape if you try. You know, Nick has never been charged with attempted escape. So for him to be labeled as a high risk when you can't put charges on it, so by law he wasn't attempting to escape, but yet you think that you can just label something like that. And what even irks me the most is understanding who my husband is and how much his family matters to him. The access that he has to his family, although limited, is what he lives for. So to even think that he would sacrifice a moment of his time to never be able to see his father or his mother or his sister or his nieces and nephews again, his brother, like, no, it's not even in the realm of reality, but they can just do whatever they want because they're the prison. And of course, we're still suing, and of course it's retaliatory, and of course it's going to come out eventually. And I look forward to that day, and I hope that that day comes. And I pray that that day comes so that other families aren't impacted the way that we have been. It's a downer. It's a really big downer when you know that this is your life and you're dealing with a beast of an organization that gets away with doing the most awful things. And not only in Nick's state, in other states as well, right? And arguably way worse in other states. I'm not going to be naive and say that Nebraska's awful and the worst. They're definitely not. But given the size of the organization and how small it is, they should be leaders, I think, in their rehabilitation, but they're very much not. So yeah, it was a hard week and I had a hard time kind of getting out of that spiral. And I'm feeling a lot better, thankfully. And I plan on going back on social media and pushing more. And there's, so many cool things happening. But I feel like in those moments, it's so important to rely not only on the support of my husband and my family, but being able to rest and be okay with disconnecting from the social media world and just be sad. My life has taken a drastic turn in the last year, an unexpected drastic turn in so many ways. And the future is so very unknown for me and what I can do and what I'd like to do. And yeah, it's just been heavy for sure. But I'm around, I'm okay, I'm still working, we're still putting out episodes. I just took a break from as much as I could for the past week. And yeah, if you are interested in showing your support and helping the More Than Inmates Girlfriend brand and BestSelf Publications brands, then please go like and share and follow our social media. More Than an Inmates GF on TikTok, podcast_prison GF on Instagram, More Than an Inmates Girlfriend on Facebook, and of course following and clicking the plus button and adding us to your list of podcasts that you follow on whatever platform you use to follow the show. If you want to get an More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend catalog, the cutest email actually I got, which is such a great idea, and I do need to post it on social media. I got an email recently from someone who was asking about if they could pay for the gift and with just the item number, and then their loved one would send it. So their loved one picks out the gift from the catalog, just gives the item number or numbers, and then I just tell them the total, what's owed. They send it to me, and then I can order them a gift, and they have no idea what it is, and their loved one picked it out. So I think that's really cute because a lot of us realistically are supporting our loved ones, so we're paying for it anyways. So instead of it going through to them, to their account, to whatever, then they're just saying, okay, well, it's still going to be a surprise. You don't know when you're going to get it or whatever. And it's handpicked by him still. So I thought that was a really cute idea and a way to navigate him being involved in being able to purchase you a gift. So if you're struggling with that part of it, then, that's an idea. Just send me an email or DM me on social media and I will help you get that for him or get that for you through him picking. That makes sense. So yeah, you can order that gift catalog for him on morethaninmatesgirlfriend.com. This week's episode it reminds me of original ones. We just get to gossip and talk about her relationship and social media and its impact on our relationships, because there have been quite a few breakups and quite a bit of drama lately in the social media world. For those of you that don't follow us on social media or don't follow influencers on social media, you might not have seen that there is a lot of drama and stuff going on there. So we get to just chat about it. It's been really nice. And then I think next week we are going to talk with someone who is in the LGBTQ community and is dating someone who is incarcerated and how he navigates that, and social media. I think we'll continue the trend on social media for a bit before we go back and speak to some people that are incarcerated and get ready to end the season, really, because we're almost there. So I hope you enjoy this light, easy, fluffy episodes. She is so sweet and I really enjoy talking to her. So I hope you enjoy it and we'll catch up again next week. Take care, guys. Bye. Welcome, Anna. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So do you want to talk to us just a little bit about who you are? What is your background? What was your life like growing up?
So I grew up in upstate New York, and whenever I tell everyone, oh, I'm from New York, people are like, oh, you're from New York City. No, I'm from upstate New York. Like, New York State is the most forgotten part of New York. And whenever people hear New York, they always get drawn to the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have to correct people. And it's like, no, I'm not from New York City. I'm not from Wall Street. I'm not from that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the suburbs of New York. My maternal grandmother raised me my whole entire life up to her passing from pancreatic cancer last year.
Oh.
So she was my mother figure. My biological mother helped to raise me till I was 10 months old, until CPS got involved and made it clear she was unfit to be a mother. And then Child Protective Services was going to put me in the system until my grandma stepped up.
Okay.
Then New York State mandated court system, mandated visitations with my biological mother every Sunday, which made me resent her in the end.
Okay.
And every time I asked her about my biological father, she would avoid the subject entirely. And she would only tell me his first name, and that's all. And I didn't find my biological father until last year when I was 24 years old, through my half-sister, who I found out about on an Ancestry DNA testing site.
I was going to ask if you did it to try and find it.
I knew I had siblings out there, but most of them didn't take the DNA testing.
Okay.
We are all related to our biological father.
Okay.
But we all have different moms besides the youngest two.
Wow. That's how I found a half-brother of mine too on Ancestry. I was looking for a half-sister that I knew I had, and then we found a half-brother. It's crazy what that DNA stuff does, but what a wild experience you had. Did you actually get to meet your dad?
So I talked to him, and apparently my mother caused a lot of trauma for him.
Okay.
And she didn't tell him about me. I was upset that he never knew about me. Growing up, every birthday, I would get dressed up, like doing my hair, doing my makeup, and doing all the extra stuff that most people wouldn't do if they had their real dad in their life. But I just dressed up every birthday just to see if he would miraculously show up. And when he never showed up, I would always get disappointed. Like, yeah, I have my stepdad in my life, and I call him my dad, but a part of me growing up, I felt this void.
Absolutely.
And something was missing.
Yeah, I'm so sorry you went through that.
I came to terms with it, but it was hard, even though my grandma and my step-grandfather raised me. They were the best parents. And I lost my step-grandfather a month after my 11th birthday.
Oh.
But I don't even remember his voice. I still look at pictures of him and still miss him.
Oh.
But my grandma, I still cry whenever I see pictures of her. I got a memory on Snapchat yesterday of her swimming with dolphins from 2 years ago, which was her last vacation.
Wow.
Before she passed away. And my heart still breaks, but I know she's in a better place, and knowing she raised me to be the best woman I could be.
Yeah. She'd be so proud of you. And it's like you lost your mom, really.
Yeah, and also my biological mother, her addiction was really bad growing up, and I didn't realize her addiction was that bad till I was older, and she was very abusive and controlling my whole entire life. And I've been in no contact with her for almost 3 years now, and I'm happier with being no contact with her.
Yeah. I know family's important for sure and blood's important, but we also have to choose ourselves. I have no contact with my dad. Sometimes it's better for you to be away from it. And as much as we yearn to have that relationship and wish that our parents were different than they are, sometimes it's just way easier just to understand that our parents will not be what we need them to be. And it's better to let go and live our own life without him than to hope that they will be different all the time.
Yeah. I agree with that completely.
Yeah. Yeah. It took me a long time to get there, though. And I'm a lot older than you. So was your grandmother passing what led you to leave?
Yes.
Okay.
She passed away in February of 25. Okay. And I did not move out to where I'm at now till June of 25.
Okay.
So I've been out here almost a year.
And you just picked up and left for a new start?
Yes. Fresh start, fresh atmosphere, cheaper rent.
Yeah. Was there a reason you picked that area, or was it just like, on the map, this is where I'm going?
It was just on the map and the cheapest place I could find.
Cool. I love it.
And I met my man in the process.
Yeah. So what drew you to writing people who are incarcerated? What made you think about it?
Growing up, I had several family members that were constantly in and out of prison. One of my grandma's brothers who was incarcerated most of my life. I just wanted to give back to the community, and I thought it would be a good thing to do.
Okay.
To write incarcerated individuals to help them through this tough time in their lives, either if they're serving a short sentence or a long sentence. It gives them something to do besides sitting in their cells twiddling their thumbs, basically.
Right. And before you met your fiancé, what were your experiences like reaching out to pen pals? Was it positive overall?
Let's just say they weren't the best. They were basically using me to get money or getting packages from the food and clothing program. And it was just like them using me, which I didn't like. And I dropped all of them as soon as I realized I was being used.
Wow. And then what was different about your fiancé?
He understood me on a level no one else was able to understand. And from the get-go, there was a connection. I like to say he got me hooked on the first phone call.
Really?
Yeah. After that first day of us talking, he was like, do you want me to call you back? And I'm like, yeah. And then we were on the phone probably 8 to 10 times.
Wow.
And he just got me hooked. And he told me his life story and told me everything about him. And I just was able to open up and be honest with him.
And was that something that you hadn't been able to experience before?
Yeah, so a lot of my past relationships were DV related, or they were constantly lying to me, and it just drained me mentally. But also from my childhood, no one was ever honest with me besides my grandma.
Right.
So honesty is a big factor to me. So him being honest and straightforward with me in the beginning.
It made you feel safe.
Yeah.
Wow. And you said he is very protective of your feelings. How does he show you that? How have you noticed in the ways that he protects you?
So he has a lot of empathy, and whenever my feelings get hurt, he feels bad, and he does everything in his power just to make me feel better. Even though he sometimes doesn't know how to make me feel better and can't be there physically with me, he just tries his best to try to protect me the best he can.
That's so nice. And you have some anxieties and stuff. How does he navigate that? I know that with me, I've had anxieties before and it was a new journey for me. And I don't know what the journey has been like for you when it comes to anxiety, but I know that it can be really hard to navigate because it's not always rational.
Sometimes it's rational, but he helps the best he can and reassures me. Like, when we first started this journey together, I was having a lot of anxiety, like when he wouldn't call, when he said he would call. And I was like, why didn't you call? Are you okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, fine. I was just at chow. I'm like, okay. And he's like, I know you have your anxieties, but you gotta distract yourself the best as you can while I am doing stuff.
Right.
Just because I'm in prison doesn't mean I'm doing nothing all day. I have gym, I have yard, I have day room, I have chow, I have all these activities that I do.
Yeah. And
you gotta try to find ways to distract yourself when I'm doing this stuff so you're not overthinking. Because he knows I'm a terrible overthinker, and sometimes I think it's the worst case scenario before I come to the best conclusion.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because a couple days ago, there was a girl that reached out to me and she knows that I know her loved one. I don't know how they're connected, if they're friends or if they're dating. I'm not sure. And she asked me if I'd heard from him because she hadn't heard from him and she's getting really worried. And I was like, listen, I know a few people in that prison because I work with them and I haven't heard from any of them. So the chances are that they're on some kind of lockdown. And she was like panicking. She's like, I'm just so worried. I just don't know if anything happened to him. I hope he's okay. And I was like, it's okay. It's probably a lockdown. I haven't heard from any of them. I should have heard from at least one of them by now. I'll message them to see if they've heard from Chris, but I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think it's just a lockdown. And then a couple hours later, I got a message from one of them saying that they were on lockdown for a week. So then I was able to send her a message and be like, yeah, I just got a message from one of them. They were on lockdown for a week. And she was so relieved, but I was like, it's so interesting when you're new to this journey to when you're in it for a couple years. Because then you get adjusted to it and you're like, oh yeah, if you don't hear from them, it could be the Wi-Fi, it could be the tablet, it could be, there's so many things that happen that patience is something that we really have to learn.
Exactly, and find ways to distract us ourselves or keep living our lives. Just because our loved one is incarcerated doesn't mean our life outside.
Exactly. And how have you guys gotten into disagreements and how do you navigate those?
We have gotten into fights about little stupid stuff, or when I'm on my period and I'm in my emotions, and then sometimes I take it out on him, and that's the majority of our fights. I always hate saying I'm sorry, but that's how I grew up. And he's like, do you have anything to say? And I'm like, no. What do I have to apologize for?
I love it.
He's like, you snapped at me. And I was like, you don't understand womanhood.
Yeah.
And then eventually a few hours pass and I'm like, I'm sorry. I say it in the most cutest way possible so he can't stay mad at me.
Yeah.
He's like, you could have said that earlier, but I'm thick-headed and stubborn because I'm from New York.
If you enjoy hearing stories about other people's prison relationships, why not try finding one for yourself? Penpals.buzz lists thousands of male and female prisoners, and you can search by age, type of crime, ethnicity, religion, or practically anything else to find your perfect person behind bars. So take the plunge. Instead of just listening to stories, why not become the story? At penpals.buzz.
So you're online, just like I am, in the TikTok world, and we get to see a lot of online stuff and online posts. You've gotten some hate online because you're sharing your relationship. What has that been like, and what kind of things do people say to you?
So I've gotten a lot of hate comments, and sometimes it just gets overwhelming and out of control. And sometimes I debate whether to keep my comments on because I'm like, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it at all. But, for example, some of these hate comments have been about his charges and, like, a charge from 10 plus years ago. And I'm like, bro, you don't know the full story.
Yeah.
Or they say, he's going to leave you when he gets out. And sometimes I get in my head and I'm like, oh, maybe they're right. But I know deep down they're wrong because he would never do that. He puts it this way. He's like, if I was going to leave you, would I have gotten you an engagement ring? Would I have written the chaplain to marry you inside these walls? Mm-hmm. Would I be planning our future together? And I'm like, not really.
No.
Or a lot of people hate I'm getting stuff for him. I'm slowly getting his stuff, but all his hygiene stuff is taken care of. But I got him his first pair of shoes the other week, and people are hating that. I'm just prepping for him to come home, but it's like he needs stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just prepping. And then also people judge me because my man's in prison. On one of my videos, someone thought he was deployed, right? And then another person commented, you knew it was a fake account because it had no picture and it just had a weird fake name.
Yeah.
And it said, I thought bro was deployed. Bro's in prison, and then crying emoji. And I'm like, I don't get why you're hating about that, but okay, that's not a flex that you think it is, but whatever. Just because my man's in prison doesn't mean he doesn't love me.
Yeah. I know when I first started posting online or posting, not even on TikTok, but on different platforms, it really affected me, the negativity that some people have towards the situation. And it really affected my mental health in terms of wanting to post. And I feel like you get disappointed in humanity almost when you get these negative comments.
When it first started happening with the hate comments, I would be crying on the phone to Chase, and I'm like, babe, I don't get why they're hating. And he's like, well, they're envying our relationship, and they're jealous of us. And I'm like, true, but it's like, don't let it affect you. I know, like, it hurts in the moment, but you will be all right. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
He gives me, like, pep talks even when I don't feel like I need it. And in those situations, he sometimes just gives me those little pushes, and it helps my mental health. And now I really could care less what people say online. When people are hating, and I was like, okay, hate all you want. I don't care. And then one of my friends that's also a prison wife, she actually posted and stitched my video and made a clap back too. But I was being respectful, and she was talking with her chest like she was angry but standing on ground.
Nice.
Yeah. So sometimes she needs it from both point of views, but I know she's always protecting me, but also protecting the whole prison community. So, yeah.
Is there stuff that you do to protect your space? I know it's hard to understand. I find for me, I'm trying to think how I got past it because it really deeply affected me at the beginning. And I was so worried about people criticizing him and being protective over him and stuff. And I think it was just with time, I realized that these were just opportunities to change people's minds and that I had to accept people's opinions, even though I disagreed with them. Did you have a moment where you were like, it switched completely, or was it just over time that you stopped caring? And is there anything that you do to protect your mental peace so that you don't think negatively again?
I just stopped caring after a while what people are hating about. I'm like, okay, haters are going to hate. I'm not going to care because it's my relationship and I know what's best for me. But also, when protecting myself, I distract myself by a lot of self-care or catching up on the book that we're reading together, or like doing my press-on nails or watching my TV shows or movies. Just taking time for myself, really.
Yeah. I feel like on social media, it can be so fake. Do you ever feel pressure to present your relationship a certain way, or are you open about the good and bad? I feel like there's so much times where people make it look perfect and then you find out later that it's really not.
Sometimes I feel like the need to make it feel perfect. It's like all these influencers that had relationships with their incarcerated individuals, I feel like they were just doing it more for clout than anything.
Yeah.
But me personally, I don't post the bad. I don't talk about our fights or anything.
Okay.
Because that's his and I's business, and I don't want to get the internet involved.
Okay.
So I just try to make us look perfect, but in reality, we're far from perfect.
Right.
But I do always state, Chase and I are not perfect. We're only human. We're going to have ups and downs like any other ordinary couple.
I think when a lot of people hear that, I think they'll be relieved too, because it's nice to understand where people come from and understand that we present certain things on social media and that maybe not all of it, like the negative, isn't presented as well, and you have great reasons for it. So to say and emphasize that, I think is great for people, because there's a certain pressure sometimes that these relationships are absolutely perfect when there's a lot of downtime and downsides.
Right.
Yeah, so you talked about the influencers a little bit, and especially this is kind of an interesting time to be talking about this just because there's been so many breakups and so much drama lately around some of those people with higher numbers of followers. Has that impacted you and made you worry about your own relationship? Because I know a lot of people were rooting for them. They really wanted them to succeed. And then to see that they didn't is kind of crushing, because we looked up to these people.
So it made me see my relationship differently at times because of all these breakups, and it made me lose hope for a little while, or make it feel like my relationship was gonna fail. But in reality, I knew, just because these influencers who were involved with people that were incarcerated and their relationships didn't work out, didn't mean that mine wasn't going to work out. So I just had doubt in the moment, but I easily picked myself back up.
That's good.
We were all rooting for them, and then things happen for a reason, I like to say.
Yeah.
We don't know what that reason is going to be, but I'm just glad I gained all my hope back after having a glimpse of fail in the moment.
Yeah.
I talked to him about it, and he was like, well, you know, just because their relationship failed doesn't mean ours is. It's like, we all have moments where we doubt everything, especially in the world today where majority of relationships don't last. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
But I've known people that have been together a month and then they break up, or together forever and then get engaged, planning on getting married, and then the relationship falls apart.
Yeah.
But I just know that's not going to happen to me because Chase and I always work things out. Even if we're mad at each other for something stupid, we always talk it out and communicate how we're feeling. And if we're mad at each other, we take our own space, and then we'll just come back and talk about it later on.
Like you've built a strong foundation.
Yes, we have. Our communication is so strong.
My husband also knows about the influencers, and he always develops his own opinion. And I hate how right he is all the time, because he'll tell me they're not going to work and the reasons why they're not going to work based solely on what I tell him. And I'm like, how do you know when they fail? And I'm like, yeah, he went back to the streets or whatever. My husband's like, yeah, could have told you that from the beginning. Like, he knows all the time. And I'm like, damn, how do you know? Why are you always right?
Right? I hate when our partners are always right.
Yes. It's so frustrating. He makes me mad.
And they're like, we told you so. Shut up.
Yeah. Like, aren't we allowed to watch them? Yeah. We have to have some hope looking in other people's relationships.
Exactly.
When you compare your previous relationships to this one, what do you think makes it unique? What makes it different?
I would say this relationship is more unique than any other relationship that I've had. Has been built on physical affection.
Right.
And we didn't meet prior to his incarceration. So we had to learn everything about one another from scratch. So we learned how to love one another despite the miles between us. And we just built our connection that way through phone calls, through video visits. Yeah, things that an ordinary couple wouldn't do.
Yeah. It's completely different, I find. And what do you hope for the future for you guys?
For Chase to come home, obviously, start our family, and we will be getting married in the next few months, hopefully.
Wow.
But also, we want to build our empire together by starting a few businesses together, by flipping houses. Chase will be starting his own construction company. And we're also going to be starting a pen pal website for incarcerated individuals free of charge when he comes home and he gets settled in.
I love how you still want to keep in the community and still help by making that pen pal page. A lot of times people just want to forget about the prison community after they get home, but you guys are planning to still stay in it.
Well, he mentioned it from the first time we started talking. And it's always been on the back of my mind, and he still brings it up. And I just love how he wants to still help people despite him being in prison.
Yeah.
And he always tells me, I'm never going back. I'm never going back.
He's learned his lesson.
Yeah, he's learned his lesson.
Hopefully.
Famous last words, but I'm like, I hope you don't go back. But in the back of my head, I just want to be prepared just in case, because you never know what can happen.
Yeah. When is he supposed to come home?
Early 2028.
Wow. So that's not far off.
A year and a half left.
Oh, so fun.
And I want to start getting him stuff, but at the same time, I'm not rushing, because if I rush, then I don't have other stuff to get.
Yeah, it's true. If he was listening right now, which he will be eventually, is there anything that you want to say to him on the podcast?
I would tell him I am proud of him, how far he's come, how far he's grown. I'm just proud of him doing his absolute best and making sure to be there for me no matter what, but also trying to have everything lined up for when he comes home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's gonna be getting his forklift license and his CDL. So I'm just proud of what he's done and how far he's come.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your relationship. I really enjoyed learning about it and talking about the online hate and how you navigate it. So thank you so much for sharing that. There's a lot of people that go through the same thing.
You're welcome.